If you ever lived in Lagos and never heard of Clarabelle Jones, you probably didn't own a phone, radio, or pair of eyes. Clarabelle was that woman who could cause traffic just by crossing the road. If she entered a party, DJ would unknowingly reduce the volume because everyone would just stop and stare like, God, who painted this angel? Men trailed her like network problems, persistent and everywhere. Some sent flowers, others sent phones, some even sent urgent 500k just to buy her attention for 1 minute. But Clarabelle wasn't one of those soft-hearted ladies who would melt because of small perfume and fried rice date. No. She tested men the way Nico tests students. No mercy, no hint. Her philosophy was simple. Love may lie, but makeup never disappoints. One fine Friday evening, this tall, sweet-talking guy named Leon took her to dinner at a fancy restaurant where the rice portion looked like food sample from NAFDAC. That night, Clarabelle decided to test him. She fell asleep in full glam, lashes long enough to fan the room, brows so perfect they could pass a geometry exam. Next morning, Leon looked at her and said with a laugh, "Babe, you don't need all that paint. I like natural women." Clarabelle smiled like a polite queen, but in her mind she hissed, "My brother, your exam just ended. Go and collect your result from blocked list." That afternoon, she deleted his number, wiped him off her emotional calendar, and went back to blending her foundation. Another man came, Victor, fine boy with muscles like he borrowed them from gym advertisement. He took her to the beach. She warned him, "I don't like water. If this makeup touches water, it will enter heaven before me." Victor laughed and said, "You too do. Come on, live small." Then he tried to drag her closer to the waves. Clarabelle smiled, wiped imaginary dust from her hair and said, "Thank you, Mr. White Tidewater. Goodbye forever." His number joined the block list by sunset. And then there were those ones who would text, "Babe, let me see your natural face now." The moment they said that, she'd simply say, "Network problem," and vanish like she was raptured. To Clarabelle, makeup wasn't just powder and paint. It was her shield, her story, her safe place. Without it, she felt exposed, like standing in public without clothes. People said she was vain. Some said she had low self-esteem. Others said she was running from something. They were all wrong. Clarabelle wasn't running from anything. She was hiding everything. Her makeup table? Heaven's branch. Powders arranged by mood, lipsticks organized by danger level, brushes standing like soldiers waiting for command, the glowed with a ring light that could fry mosquito. Every morning, every night, she sat there painting herself with precision like she was fixing her soul. She wore makeup to cook. She wore makeup to sleep. If she fell sick, she'd whisper to her cousin, "Bring my compact powder. Nobody should see me like this, I beg." Her friend Lydia used to joke, "One day we'll bury you with your makeup kit. I can already see your foundation beside your casket." Clarabelle would laugh and say, "At least I'll enter heaven fine." But deep down, the thought of anyone seeing her bare face made her heart tremble like PHCN light. Sometimes, late at night, she'd sit before her mirror, touching her smooth cheeks, tracing her lips, whispering to her reflection, "This is me. This is who they love. If I lose this, I lose everything." Then came Nathan Cole, not the loud type, no gold chain, no I drive Benz energy, just a calm, soft-spoken man with eyes that looked like they already knew the whole world's secrets. He didn't send expensive perfumes or long poems. He sent her peace, slow, quiet peace. When he spoke, he didn't say, "You're beautiful." He said, "I like the way you think." When she complained, he listened properly. When he sent texts, they weren't just "wid" or "send pic." They were thoughtful, warm, sometimes funny, and shockingly, Nathan never once asked to see her without makeup. He didn't even hint. He never tried to touch her face or say nonsense like, "I want to see the real you." He simply held her hand when they walked and talked about dreams, books, life, and small chops. For the first time, Clarabelle's guard started melting. She thought, maybe this is it, the one who won't ask what's behind the mask. Lagos people started noticing them, always together, always laughing like life had no wahala. They weren't the loud social media couple type. They were quiet, steady, and unshakably close. Nathan was different. He never compared her, never mocked her routines, never teased her when she packed her mini suitcase of makeup for a 2-hour outing. Instead, he carried it for her like it was a sacred treasure. And Clarabelle, for once, allowed herself to breathe. She believed she had finally found the one man who wouldn't try to wash off her colours, the one who would stay no matter what shade she wore. The day Clarabelle Jones said yes to Nathan Cole, even the angels must have smiled and whispered, "Finally she dong gris." Their wedding was the kind that made half of Lagos traffic late, the kind where everyone came dressed like movie extras. The hall glittered like heaven's waiting room, flowers everywhere, gold chairs, perfume mixed with jollof aroma, a combination strong enough to make a person rethink life choices. Clarabelle? Her makeup artist deserved national award. Her face shone like she had been airbrushed by destiny. Every single person whispered, "Chai, this woman fine, no be small thing." Even the caterer dropped spoon to admire her when she passed. And Nathan? Nathan looked like every mother-in-law's prayer answered. Calm, tall, smiling like peace itself. The man held Clarabelle's hand as if she was made of light. He whispered sweet things during the vows, things that made even the bridesmaids sniff their tissue. When the pastor said, "You may now kiss the bride," Clarabelle gently turned her head just slightly, enough to dodge the direct hit. The crowd clapped, thinking it was shy bride behaviour. But those who knew her well just smiled knowingly. Clarabelle, our fine babe who no day play with makeup, don't start. The party went on till evening. Laughter, champagne and small chops flew like confetti. Friends danced like rent had just been cancelled. Then came nightfall. The guests were gone. The lights were dim. Candles flickered in the soft air. Romantic music hummed in the background. Clarabelle and Nathan entered their room as husband and wife at last. Nathan, glowing with joy, lifted her gently. "Tonight is ours, my love," he said, laughing like a man whose prayers had been answered. Clarabelle giggled too, but every time he leaned too close, she tilted her head away with practiced grace. Years of training, nobody touches the face. Not even true love. But Nathan was too happy to notice. He spun her gently, and as he carried her toward the bed, it happened. One small innocent carpet betrayed them. Nathan's foot slipped. In one swift motion, the tall, graceful groom went flying backward. Kabam! His head landed on the edge of the bed frame with a dull thud. Silence. Clarabelle screamed, "Jesus, Nathan!" He wasn't moving. His eyes were closed, body limp. For a few seconds, she just stood there frozen, mouth open, heart pounding. Then fear broke through her shock. She dropped to the floor, kneeling beside him, shaking him. "Nathan, baby, please, wake up! Don't do this to me tonight! Not tonight!" Tears poured down her cheeks in thick rivers, hot, unstoppable, messy. They dragged powder and foundation along with them, streaking her face like rain washing off a painting. She pressed her hands on his wound, crying, "Please, God, not now! Don't take him from me! I just found peace!" Then a faint sound. Nathan groaned. His fingers twitched. Clarabelle gasped with relief, whispering, "Oh, thank you, Jesus! Baby, are you okay?" But then she saw it. Nathan's eyes opened. Slow, weak, unfocused. He blinked, staring up at her. His expression changed. Confusion first, then shock, then pure horror. Clarabelle?" he whispered, his voice trembling. She smiled weakly, wiping her tears. "Yes, it's me, baby. You scared me." But Nathan didn't smile back. His eyes widened more, his body stiffened. What happened to your face?" Clarabelle froze. Her hand went instinctively to her cheek. She felt it. The cracks, the dryness, no longer smooth, no longer glossy. The makeup had betrayed her. Tears had washed away her secret. Beneath the perfect layers was skin she hadn't seen bare in years, wrinkled, dry, aged like the past she tried to bury. Nathan sat up slowly, his hand clutching his head, his gaze fixed on her like he was seeing a ghost. "No, this can't be real." Baby, I can explain, she said, her voice shaking. He backed away, pressing against the wall. Explain what? Explain what? Who are you? Nathan, please, she cried, crawling toward him. But her voice only made it worse. He stared at her like a man watching his world crumble. The young, glowing bride he had carried moments ago was gone, replaced by an older, weary-looking woman with smudged powder and trembling lips. Nathan's breathing quickened. This is witchcraft, he whispered under his breath. You were young a minute ago. Clarabelle shook her head, tears mixing with the remnants of her blush. No, Nathan, it's still me. It's still Clarabelle. Please. He pushed himself up weakly, reaching for the door handle. His legs trembled, but panic gave him strength. Clarabelle grabbed his ankle, crying, Don't go! Please! I can't explain now, but I didn't mean to hide. I just wanted to be loved the way I looked. Ugh. Nathan looked down at her with trembling eye, whispering, Loved for what? A lie? The words cut through her chest like a blade. Clarabelle broke down completely, her sobs echoing in the silent room. For the first time, she wasn't thinking of mascara or powder. She wasn't thinking of beauty or perfection. She was just a woman, terrified of being unloved, terrified of being seen. Nathan stood at the door, breathing hard, torn between fear and pity. He didn't move, he didn't speak. The lights flickered, casting shadows across the cracked remains of her once perfect face. For a moment, there was silence, the kind that could make even mosquitoes pause mid-bite. Nathan stood by the door, chest rising and falling like he'd just seen a ghost. Well, technically, he had just seen one that was alive and wearing his wife's wedding ring. Belle, kneeling on the cold marble floor, looked up at him through tear-stained eyes. Her mascara had travelled from Lekki to Ibadan and back, and her foundation had officially retired. Her once perfect face, the one that had cost her makeup artist $385,000 and a full day of blending, was now gone, washed away by tears and fear. Nathan, please, don't look at me like that, she whispered, reaching for him. He jerked back like her fingers were live wires. Clarabelle, what is this? Who are you? His voice shook, his hands trembled. She clutched her chest, voice cracking. It's still me. I'm still Clarabelle. I didn't mean for you to see me like this. Nathan pressed his back against the wall, shaking his head like a man trying to reboot his brain. No, this can't be you. You're supposed to be 26. You told me you don't even like filters. Clarabelle let out a shaky laugh, the sad kind that sounds more like pain. Nathan, please, let me explain before you run out and scream, witch. Something in her voice made him pause. Maybe pity, maybe shock, maybe confusion that his fine babe had just turned to someone's grandmother before his very eyes. He slid down the wall and sat on the floor, face buried in his hands. This cannot be real, he muttered. You were young, so young and beautiful. Clarabelle wiped her wet cheeks, revealing even more of her true self. Deep lines, weary eyes, skin that had seen more years than she'd ever admitted. She took a deep breath and began, her voice heavy but steady. It started when I was 39, she said quietly. I was engaged then. I thought I had found love, the kind you read about in those cheap romance novels. But the man left me, said I was getting older, and he wanted someone fresh. My heart broke. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I even started talking to my mirror like it was my therapist. Nathan looked up slightly, his brows furrowed. One night, she continued, I went walking, crying like a mad woman in slippers and wrapper. That's when I met her, an old woman by the roadside. She looked at me and said she knew my pain, told me she could make sure no man would ever leave me again. Nathan's eyes narrowed. So, you're saying a random woman on the street gave you, what, a face cream? Clarabelle gave a dry laugh. Ah, if only, she gave me a powder, a special one, said it would keep me young forever, as long as I followed one rule, never cry for anyone, not even for love. Nathan blinked, confusion and disbelief wrestling in his eyes. You mean like spiritual Mary Kay? Clarabelle ignored the sarcasm. I took it, Nathan. I was desperate, and it worked. From that day, my face stopped aging. But the men I loved, they grew old, they died, one after another. I tried to stop, but I couldn't. I told myself it was fate, that maybe I was meant to be loved briefly, but never keep anyone. Then I relocated to this city where no one knows my story. Every man I have met before you had one condition or the other, so I never lived them, until you came. Nathan's mouth hung open. Wait, are you saying? Yes, she cut in softly. You're the only one I truly loved, the only one I wanted to keep. But tonight, when I cried for you, the rule broke, the magic broke, and this, she touched her cracked cheek with trembling fingers. This is me now. Nathan stared at her like she had just told him she was the inventor of heartbreak. His voice dropped to a whisper. You? You're not 26. Clarabelle shook her head slowly. I'm 98. Silence. Pure, dramatic, telenovela-level silence. The candles flickered. The air felt heavier. Nathan's hand slid off the wall as he whispered, Jesus of Nazareth. Clarabelle crawled closer, her trembling fingers reaching for his hand. Please, Nathan, don't leave me. You're all I have. I don't want to be alone again. Nathan's body shook and pulled away. His voice came out broken. You lied to me. You hid everything from me. You made me fall in love with an illusion. Clarabelle's lips quivered. I was scared that if you saw the real me, you'd run. And now look. I was right. Her words hit him like thunder. He wanted to speak, but no words came. He just stood there. The poor man who had walked into marriage with a fine babe and was now standing beside his great-grandmother. Please, Clarabelle whispered again. I didn't do it to deceive you. I did it because I didn't want to be left behind. I didn't want to be forgotten. Nathan stepped back, hand on the door handle, eyes clouded with pain. Clarabelle, I don't even know who you are anymore. That broke her, completely. She slumped to the floor, sobbing, raw, unfiltered, human. Her tears fell freely, washing off the last traces of powder. For the first time in decades, her real face was visible. Every wrinkle, every scar, every story. Nathan hesitated, watching her. He wanted to run, yet something in her sorrow rooted him to the spot. He saw not a monster, not a witch, but a broken woman who had been fighting time and lost. Still, he turned away slowly. The door creaked. Clarabelle whispered behind him. If I had known love would cost me this much, I would have stayed young and alone. Let me know if you want to continue the story or paste more. Her chest rose and fell quickly as her sobs grew louder. At first Nathan thought she was just crying, until the sound changed, deeper, older, like it came from the bones. Then it began. Clarabelle's skin, already lined with time, started to fold inwards like paper burning from the edges. Her hair thinned until a lonely white strand fell to the floor with slow-motion drama, like it too was saying, I'm done. Her back bent. Her hands trembled as if holding invisible memories. The magic powder, now mixed with her tears, began to melt away, hissing faintly, like soap losing a fight with water. Nathan watched in stunned horror as his bride aged before his eyes. 26 turned to 80. 100 became 200, 300. Seconds were stealing decades from her. Her beauty dissolved faster than free Wi-Fi in a Nigerian restaurant. No, Clarabelle croaked, her voice now as dry as roasted maize. Not yet. Please, not yet. She stretched her frail hand toward Nathan, but he stepped back instinctively, not out of cruelty, but because, well, his bride was turning into a mummy, and he hadn't mentally prepared for that on his honeymoon night. Fear battled pity in his chest. His heart screamed run, but his feet whispered stay. Just as he tried to think of something, anything, to do, the door suddenly burst open. Clarabelle! It was Anita, her chief bridesmaid and best friend, holding a half-empty bottle of champagne and still wearing one earring. She froze mid-step. Her mouth dropped. What in the holy honeymoon is going on here? Clarabelle shrieked, her voice echoing like a haunted opera singer. Anita, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to see me like this. Anita blinked. Once. Twice. Wait, what do you mean like this? Clarabelle clutched her chest. Don't look at me! Turn around! You are not supposed to be here! Nathan looked between the two women like a confused referee at a boxing match between time and madness. Anita's eyes darted from Clarabelle's wrinkled hands to Nathan's terrified face. Nathan, talk to me! What did you do to my friend? Why does she look like she just finished fasting with her ancestors? Nathan stammered. I didn't do anything. She just started aging like a documentary on National Geographic. Anita's mouth opened, but no words came out. Then she screamed, not just any scream, but the kind that starts in the soul and ends in the neighbour's compound. Ah! Witch! My friend is melting! Nathan, you married a rechargeable mummy! Before Nathan could say a word, Anita dropped the champagne, kicked off her high heels, and bolted out of the room like she was running toward deliverance. Her voice echoed down the hallway. "Somebody call the pastor! The wedding cake is still fresh, but the bride has expired." Nathan blinked, stunned. He looked back at Clarabelle, who was now sitting weakly on the floor, her wedding gown heavy with tears and time. He didn't know whether to help her, call an ambulance, or follow Anita and start praying immediately. Clarabelle tried to smile, a sad, trembling thing. She always wanted to catch my bouquet. Well, looks like she just caught my secret instead. Nathan almost laughed. Almost. But the sound died in his throat as Clarabelle coughed weakly, her body trembling. The room went quiet again. The only sound was the faint hiss of the last bit of magic leaving her skin. Nathan slowly knelt beside her. "Clarabelle." She turned her weary eyes to him, tears glistening like tiny crystals. "Don't pity me, Nathan. Just promise me one thing." He swallowed. "What's that?" "If you ever remarry," she whispered, her lips curving faintly, "please make sure she's not older than your grandmother." Even in her fading state, her humour flickered, soft but alive. Nathan's lips trembled into a sad smile. "You're impossible." Clarabelle gave a weak chuckle. "No, darling, just expired." Her eyes fluttered shut as another strand of white hair fell, marking the quiet end of a century-long illusion. The door was still wide open, Anita's scream faint in the distance, probably already trending on social media by now. And Nathan still stood there, staring at the woman he married hours ago, who had turned into history before midnight. A few minutes later, the entire estate that was silent one moment. But the next moment, Wahala fully landed. Anita's scream tore through the compound like Nipa taking light on Christmas Day. People rushed out of their houses, wrappers half-tied, torchlights shaking, men wearing only singlets in confusion. Who died? What happened? Is armed robber? Abi Nathan's stepmother Don finally confess? Before anyone could answer, Anita sprinted down the corridor, yelling like someone who saw Amadioha live. "Help, help! Our bride has turned to a god! Just come and see!" Of course, Nigerians don't need invitation twice. Everybody followed her. Within minutes, the hallway to the couple's suite looked like a market square. Someone even dragged a stool, because gist must be enjoyed comfortably. When the door swung fully open, the crowd froze. Gasps everywhere. "Ha! Shouts everywhere! Ha ha! Jesus! Which Kane film be this? Clarabelle be that? In wedding gown, looking like Methuselah's auntie? There, on the floor, was Clarabelle, once the finest babe in Lagos, now looking like she personally attended Noah's Ark naming ceremony. Her wrinkled skin drooped, her back bent like she had carried sorrow and Gary Bag for 300 years. Her bridal hairpiece sat awkwardly on thin, grey strands falling like old stockfish. Nathan stood aside, face pale, eyes red, looking like he needed a refund on life choices. One man whispered loudly, "Omo, if to say Nami I for faint since." Another woman held her chest dramatically. "So beauty truly fades. Ahan, but this one run." Clarabelle looked up slowly, her voice now dry like a chalkboard eraser. "Well, welcome to my TED Talk." The crowd drew back. Someone even crossed themselves. Nathan's tears spilled as he spoke shakily. "My stepmother pushed me into this marriage. She said I must marry the most beautiful girl in the city, make her proud. I didn't know I was walking inside a trap that will finish my destiny." The crowd gasped again. One man nodded like a judge. I talk that your stepmother get hand for this." A woman carrying a baby hissed, "We must stone this woman. Stone her to death before she turn all of us to old people." Clarabelle actually laughed, a tired, ancient, sarcastic laugh. My sister, what will it do for you? You think I'm afraid of stone? I've lived too long already. And trust me, whether you stone me or not, my wahala is already expiring today." More gasps. Someone muttered, "So, she even came with warranty?" Another young lady stepped forward, eyebrows raised. "Man, how can you deceive the whole city? Why pretend to be young when you are this old?" Clarabelle sighed, closing her weary eyes for a moment. "My first love broke me, shattered me, left me for a younger girl when I was pregnant. I cried until I became hollow, and the night I lost the pregnancy, I lost myself too." Silence dropped like heavy rain. Even the stone-suggesting woman lowered her hand. Clarabelle continued, voice trembling. "That heartbreak pushed me into the forest, where I met a woman who offered me the youth powder. I used it to stay young, and every man I loved grew old and died. I became addicted, evil even, but I was hurting, deeply. People wiped tears, even Anita sniffed. Clarabelle turned slowly to Nathan. You were the only one I loved genuinely, but when you didn't show interest in me, I seduced you because your stepmother begged me. She needed someone she could control to gain access to you. She wanted power, not your happiness. Nathan's mouth dropped open. No wonder she rushed the wedding like promo sales, someone whispered. Clarabelle nodded, her voice thin as a dry leaf. But I will free you now. My death will break the marriage vow. If I stay alive, you would age 100 years in one day and die. Then I would return to being young again. That is the curse. The entire room froze. Nathan shook his head violently. Clarabelle. No, she raised a trembling hand. It's fine. I'm ready. I've run from death too long. Let my spirit rest. She gave a tired smile to the crowd. And please, all of you, stop breaking people's hearts. You don't know what monster you may create. One elderly woman nodded vigorously. Amen, oh, preach, mama! Clarabelle looked at Nathan one last time. Nathan, don't marry an old woman in disguise again and be kind to whoever you choose. Then, like a candle losing its flame, Clarabelle exhaled, and her body slumped quietly. Silence, shock, a few screams, many tears. The once beautiful bride gone in moments, and outside the crowd murmured, Chai, this wedding really turned to obituary. The next morning, Lagos woke up buzzing with one headline, Wedding of the Year ends in bride aging 300 years and dying. Trust Nigerians, someone even edited Clarabelle's bridal photo to look like a grandma holding bouquet of walking sticks. Internet had no mercy. But for Nathan, it wasn't funny, it wasn't gist, it wasn't a meme, it was pain, real, bone-deep pain. At the burial, Nathan stood by the graveside looking like a ghost of himself. Fresh suit, crumpled spirit. They buried Clarabelle quietly. Crowded, but no drama, no choir. People kept glancing at Clarabelle's covered body like, Father Lord, a beg no let him wake up as young woman again. Nathan's hands shook as he dropped the first sand. This was not how we were supposed to start our marriage, he whispered. Anita placed a soft hand on his shoulder. Through shaky breaths, Nathan murmured, This wasn't supposed to be, but because of my stepmother's selfishness. I was forced into this. Anita sighed. She loved you, Nathan, even if the love was born in darkness. Nathan nodded weakly, but nothing could fill the vacuum inside him. Clarabelle was gone, and everything that happened still felt like a fever dream washed in tears. That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Clarabelle's wrinkled hand reaching for him, her voice whispering, Be kind to your spouse. Her last smile, weary, ancient, grateful. He buried his face in his pillow, shaking. He cried until dawn cracked the room with weak sunlight. By morning, the compound gate rattled. Nathan's stepmother, Mrs. Patricia Cole, stormed in like she owned the building and everyone inside it. She wore a bright lace wrapper like she was attending Owambe, not a death house. Her heels clapped angrily on the floor. Nathan! Nathan! Where is my son? She yelled. Nathan stepped into the living room with swollen eyes. She gasped dramatically. Jesus! What happened to you? Who beat you? Did that old witch's ghost slap you? Nathan didn't answer. Mrs. Patricia folded her arms. I am sorry I couldn't come for the burial. Hope it went well. He nodded slowly. And good riddance, she snapped. Nathan blinked. Good riddance, she repeated proudly. She served her purpose. She's gone. You can now marry someone respectable, someone young, someone I approve. Silence, deep silence. Then Nathan's face hardened like stone. You pushed me into that marriage, he said quietly. She waved her hand. Ahem, and so, every mother wants the best for her son. No, he said. Tears welled in his eyes again, but this time it wasn't sorrow, it was rage. You pushed me because you wanted to control me, use me, manipulate me. You didn't care about my happiness. Mrs. Patricia scoffed loudly. Happiness! I cared about your future. That girl was beautiful, obedient, and cursed! Nathan shouted. The room froze. Mrs. Patricia's face dropped. Nathan stepped closer. So many men died because of her curse, and if she didn't die yesterday, I would have been next, and you would have lost the son you're pretending to care about. Mrs. Patricia staggered slightly. Is it true? She whispered. Yes, Clarabelle saved me. Her last breath saved me. For the first time, the woman had no words. Nathan walked past her, voice breaking. I need space, Mum. I need peace. I need to heal. He grabbed his keys and moved toward the door. "Where are you going?" she asked weakly. "Away from here." "Nathan," he turned to her one last time. "Sometimes the people who claim to protect us are the first to destroy us." She flinched. "And Mum, you destroyed me." With that, he walked out. Mrs. Patricia sank into the sofa, trembling, not from guilt, but from fear of losing control. As Nathan stepped outside, he inhaled deeply. The air smelled different. A new day, a second chance. Pain still clung to him like wet cloth. But somewhere in his chest, a small spark rose. Freedom. Because Clarabelle's death was tragic, but her sacrifice saved his life. After that unforgettable showdown, Nathan didn't waste time. He didn't shout again. He didn't argue. He simply pulled out his phone, stared at his stepmother's number, and pressed one wholly liberating button. Blocked. Not muted, not archived, not "I'll call you back." Blocked. As in, from today, you and me no day the same WhatsApp group again. He blocked her calls, he blocked her texts, he blocked her on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, even on LinkedIn, because wickedness does not have boundaries. He even blocked her on Truecaller, as if she was a scam caller from one robot country. When Mrs. Patricia Cole realised she had been blocked, and the drama she displayed could win her an Oscar. She tried calling from her main number, blocked. She borrowed her friend's phone, blocked. She went to MTN office to buy a new SIM, blocked before she even finished registering in. She even tried calling with private number. Nathan heard unknown caller, hissed, and blocked that one too, because peace of mind is priceless. The woman almost cried blood. She stormed the gate of Nathan's estate one Saturday morning, shouting, "Nathan! My only son! Don't do this to me! I am your mother! Oh!" The neighbours peeked through their curtains like they were watching free TV drama. Someone even whispered, "Ha! Now this kind thing dey sweet past Nollywood." Security refused to let her in. Madam was vibrating like generator. "Tell him I'm here," she shouted. The security guard shrugged, chewing ground nut. "Auntie Oga say if we allow you enter, na both of us go collect. I beg shift." People gasped. Mrs. Patricia fainted twice for effect. Nobody pitied her. Nathan, he was inside, drinking cold juice and scrolling through vacation photos, unbothered, living his soft life. 2 years later, time moved, pain faded, scars turned to stories. 2 years later, something beautiful happened. Nathan met Evelyn Harper, a calm, graceful woman with laughter that sounded like wind chimes and eyes that saw beyond the surface. No makeup magic, no charm, no secrets, just pure heart. People in church even whispered, "Chai! Nathan, try this time." See fine woman, original beauty, no youth powder attached. Someone added, "God forbid he go repeat the first episode." Nathan fell in love gently, slowly, genuinely. No pressure, no manipulation, no curses, just two people healing and choosing each other. When he proposed, Evelyn cried like someone who found home. When they married, it was simple. No noise, no crowd, no dramatic bridesmaids visiting at midnight. And this time, nobody fainted. Nobody aged. Nobody screamed, "Witchcraft!" Even the pastor sighed in relief. Mrs. Patricia heard Nathan remarried and almost swallowed her scarf. She tried one last time to reconnect, bought a big gift, wore her best lace, marched to his new house like a repentant villain. She barely reached the gate when security said, "Auntie, Oga say make we give you this message." She took the folded paper, fingers shaking. The note read, "I wish you peace, but I love my peace too. Please stay in your lane." "Nathan," she gasped. Neighbours gasped. One passerby even shouted, "Motivation! Right am for billboard!" Mrs. Patricia carried her handbag slowly and walked away like a defeated villain in the last scene of an action movie. That was the day she finally understood. You can control a child for years, but one day that child will grow wings if your attitude enter tamper mood. Nathan and Evelyn built a peaceful, laughter-filled life. No curses, no manipulation, no ancient aging bride. Just joy, respect and love that felt like fresh air. Sometimes Nathan would look at Evelyn and whisper, "Thank you for choosing me in truth." And Evelyn would smile, "I'm here to stay." Their home became full of warmth, their hearts full of healing, and their future full of light. Hello, beloved viewers. What a journey this has been. From beauty to secrets to heartbreak and finally to healing. Life truly has a way of teaching us lessons in the most dramatic ways, sometimes like Nollywood Part 1, 2 and 3 combined. Moral lesson. Be honest in your relationships. Lies may look small today, but they grow wings tomorrow. Don't let desperation push you into darkness. Healing is better than hiding. Parents and guardians, manipulation is not love. Controlling someone's destiny will only destroy trust. Choose a partner for their heart, not their packaging. And finally, protect your peace. Peace of mind is not luxury, it is survival. Besties, if you enjoyed this emotional, dramatic and absolutely unforgettable story, give this video a big like, drop your thoughts in the comments in your own language, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next jaw-dropping story. Share this video with someone who loves a good twist. Thank you for watching, beloved viewers. See you in the next story.